All right, so we have obtained yet another brand new essence for the Blood Knight, and here it is time again to do some additional testing while we round out the perfect raid build for the Blood Knight. In this one, we're covering the chest pieces because honestly, this is where it's really interesting. Shroud of Night does do a substantial amount of damage when it comes to buffing the Blood Knight, as well as your allies in some cases, but we do have the new chest piece that buffs it in a different way. So I want to do some testing. I've also done some pre-testing to make sure I'm doing the right build that does the most damage, and we'll talk about all of that and so much more in this video, and let's get straight to it. All right, so the two chest pieces that we are considering is Layered Aims is the first one. So Shroud of Night now empowers you and nearby allies, causing your primary attack to mark enemies for death. The mark explodes upon reaching 5 stacks, dealing damage to the marked enemy. Damage increased by 18%. Now, generally, this is the old one. This is the one that we'll be doing first. The old one, there was another one that buffed just you, and that is this one, Influencer. It does less damage. We have tested that. Several content creators have proven that this is the weaker of the two. So we're not even going to waste our time in this video. We're only going to be using Layered Aims, and then the new one, something Facade, which is a Shroud of Night now conjures 2 immobile shadowy apparitions that utilize your primary attack to assault nearby enemies. Shroud of Night cooldown reduced by 7.2%. So again, the rank 4 master essence mastery for this is giving us cooldown reduction, whereas this one is increasing the damage. So it'll be very interesting. I really don't know which one is going to be doing the most damage. In terms of the overall build that we are utilizing though, let me go ahead and switch to the first chest piece. So the overall build, we went over the chest piece. I am still using the cloud. Thank you for some of you that corrected me on how to say it in the comments. I did read them, but I did not memorize that, so I won't even try to mess it up again. So we're still using the new head and pants. Still using the new shoulders that basically gives you a small swarm of bats that circulate you and then attack whenever you use a primary attack. We're still using the skewer combination between the one that makes you launch up in the air, the Beslaver, as well as the Sprig of Hawthorn. We're still using the Cruel Vendetta, which does the increased damage to with Shadow's Edge, 38% at rank 4. And then I don't have the brand new offhand yet, which again is Shadow's Edge. Well, this one, the one I am using is Shadow's Edge now marks enemies, causing them to erupt for 23,000, 23k additional damage. So that is where the new offhand will go whenever I obtain it. So let's go ahead and do this build, and then after that, the only thing we're going to switch is going to be the chest piece, and we're going to compare and contrast which one is giving us the most damage, because that's going to help us figure out which one to use. So going to go ahead and not use any ultimates. Oh, I guess it is worth noting, I have gotten some different set pieces. You can see I'm rocking as many triple rolls as I can. Feel pretty good about that. I am rocking a 4-piece Vithus and a 2-piece Banquet of the Eyes. Again, after some additional testing, I feel like this is the best for the Blood Knight for most builds, so that's why I switched to it. And again, I've been on 2-piece Banquet, 2-piece Vithus, and then maybe 2-piece Gloom is what I was rocking prior, but I actually do like the attack speed that I'm getting from the 4-piece Vithus. So that's what I'm doing now. I've noticed a decent amount of DPS increase as well as total damage. So let's go ahead and get straight to it. And here we go. So off the bat, it does a ton of damage. You can see I'm damage per second is well over 1 million. It's gonna sort of stabilize out here momentarily, but still after 10 seconds doing 10k damage feels pretty nice. And again, the auto attack speed is what is just crazy with this build. So clicking as much as we can, getting as much damage into it. Almost done. Got 4 seconds left. Make sure I get all the cooldowns in time that I can. Oh, missed it by a second. But there you go. Dang it. You know what? We're going to go ahead and run that back. I want this to be a true test. So we're going to go ahead and clear that. Even though it's just a second, I got all my cooldowns back. Ugh. I have my my spirits over here just doing things. So let's go ahead and run that back right now. All right. So now we got the attack speed, doing tons and tons of damage, lots of big numbers. Actually already dropped our DPS from 1 million already, so this might even be lower. I think it's because I messed up the skewer in the very beginning. But again, it just goes to show really how good and important your rotation is. I'm not going to reset this one. I still feel like it's a decent test, even though the DPS sort of fell off pretty quickly. And there we go. So it was at 20. It was at 20 mil. I'm not doing it again. It's so much easier on your phone to pause it because you have your thumbs right there and you just move your thumb really quick. Whereas moving your mouse all the way up, I wish there was a hotkey to pause it, but there we are. So let me go ahead and take a screenshot of that. And I have seen some of you comment on some of my videos with some pretty amazing numbers. And I keep asking for feedback and I'm not necessarily getting it. But so if you're doing more numbers with a similar build, let me know what you're doing in terms of essences. I mean, I'm very curious. I've tested out several builds and this is still the one that does the most damage for me. But yeah, I'm really curious because some of you actually have less resonance and yeah, so less combat rating and you're doing more damage, which is phenomenal for you, but I want to make sure I'm not doing anything wrong. All right, so now let's go ahead and switch the chess piece. Boom. Gonna go to the new one. And so we're not changing anything else. Everything else is exactly the same. Now we're going to jump into this and do as much damage as we can once again. So I did catch that the skewer just like sort of strutted or stumbled for a second. So I did actually activate it correctly that time. So we're already probably going to be a little bit ahead. But again, the number to beat is 21 mil. And if it's too close, then obviously you can tell it would have been the same if it wasn't for that slight skewer mistake from the first one. And even the very, very first one that I redid, it was still around that 21 mil mark. So yeah, we're already there. So this build is obviously doing more damage already. So 23.3 mil, it's 2 mil more with less time. So second less and more damage, and obviously more damage per second. If it would have been off by, less than 1 million, I would have attributed that as just to the opener, but 2.2 million is a pretty substantial increase there, so I do feel good about the new chess piece being the one that does the most damage. Again, if you're curious on the build, you can go ahead and screenshot it. I already went through all of them previously, but this is the build so far that does the most damage for me. And I look forward to hopefully getting the new offhand and really testing out this and min-maxing this damage build. And again, I'm rocking the 4-piece Vithus, 2-piece Banquet of the Eyes, and I like that a lot better. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And fingers crossed, I get the offhand sometime this decade. Until next time, lock it in.